Hi guys, my name is Zavai. I'm a 7-figure pay-per-lead agency owner. I switched from retainer about 8 months ago, and I was stuck at 10K revenue, about 8 to 7.5 in profit on my 4 or 5 retainer clients. And I was wondering, hey, how do I scale something that is essentially designed against me? And if that's you in your current situation, then pay attention to the following video, because I'm going to be elaborating to exactly why you're wasting your life potential on the retainer model as opposed to working with corporate clients selling leads that you generate off Meta for maybe $20 and then you sell them for $40 and you repeat it about 1,000 times. In the retainer model, typically 5 to 10% churn every month, right? If that's not you, good job. But for most of the people, you're actually building a system, a marketing infrastructure for a client that's designed to leave you. Because imagine you are a marketing client, you're in their shoes, right? And instead of actually, outsourcing the only thing that makes you money, which is getting clients, right? And having like all of that, risk on another external entity that you cannot control, why not just learn everything you can from that marketing agency and then hire the same person that can get the shit done, but in-house, right? Every sane business owner will want to replace a marketing agency eventually once they reach to a point, right? That's why corporate business owners, they all have in-house marketing team, because you cannot really scale past a certain point without having your own marketing team in-house, right? Obviously you can have outside consultants, right? And outside agencies adding on top of your existing marketing team, but companies that scale to 10 million plus per year, they all have their in-house marketing team. So essentially, if you're selling local business owners that essentially ambitious ones at least that want to scale up, right, they will eventually ditch you, take everything that they learn from you and hire other people to take over your job. That's just how it works, and it's a churn and burn business. Now, I guess you've already realized that, which is why we're on this video. And specifically, right, there's a way where you can go from this churn and burn model, like building somebody else's empire essentially, to building your own legacy, right? So specifically in pay-per-lead, you sell to corporate clients, you sell them leads, right? So you generate those leads, the skill set that you already have built up, right? Running a retainer-based agency, and you sell those leads. Specifically, you sell them to corporate businesses. And why do they need leads, right? Because obviously they have their own call center, they have their own sales infrastructure. They can turn leads into customers, right? Because how it's you send them a lead, first name, last name, phone number, their call center calls them in 3 to 5 minutes and convert it into a customer. That's how easy it goes. Now specifically, the software cost is also not a lot, right? With Claude Max, you can vibe code most of everything. And then I would say most of my whole backend is on Google Sheet, and keeping it more complicated doesn't even make any sense, right? And what's also crazy is that I have a 7-figure agency, and I just hired my I hired my first employee about a month back, and now I'm hiring an editor as well. So if you're one, just DM me. But it's a very lean operation, right? Which is why a lot of my friends, they get offers from private equity, because private equity understands, okay, this is a sustainable business that has a predictable revenue selling to corporate clients, and then I can buy it and then make more money on the by growing it, obviously. Because obviously private equity, they want to take a company, right, put a bunch of money into it to grow it to 5 times the size and then sell it for 10 times the value. Now specifically, every single client, right, you build in a specific infrastructure with on the retainer side, takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. Obviously, you need to have crazy documentation as well as SOPs in place to grow a retainer-based agency, which is completely different from pay-per-lead, right? Because essentially, for them to trust you inherently with the only thing that puts bread on their table, which is the system that gets them clients, local business owners will need to send you 20 to 40% of their profit, right? That's a lot. That's why the sales is so hard, guys, that you've been on the call with. I was in the med spa industry, and they've been scanned 2 to 3 times, if not 5 times, every single time, and it felt like selling to a rock. And I was the first client, I closed $1.5 grand, right? I sent her 10 personalized Loom videos, talking about how I would do. I thought it was a lot of work, because I'm obviously lazy. And if you're lazy like me and want higher, more predictable cash flow, because I legit have under 6 clients, and 2 or 3 of my clients are responsible for most of my profit or revenue. Now, specifically, corporate clients work differently, right? Because For them, 10, 20, $30,000 might just be 1 or 2% of their marketing budget that spans $1 to $5 million a month, depending on their specific industry. So for them to send you that money is just a test, right? It's just a way easier sell because obviously you providing them with leads, right? Something tangible, a product, and you also give them a risk reversal. So you say, hey, if there are any bad leads or duplicate leads or any freaking leads that are spam leads, obviously spam leads, then I'm gonna like replace those for you, right? Because obviously you're not like giving them a refund. You replace it because it's cheaper to generate the lead than to give them the whole refund. But in addition to that, you can say, hey, right, because we're a business, we also have a policy and we only get to send you maximum 10% of all the leads back, right? Because sometimes the corporate clients, they're also greedy, right? They're just gonna they're gonna be lazy and then request like 20% of the leads back. And that's called like being an asshole, but a lot of them are, depending on the vertical and the specific client, right? But your job is to basically get better corporate buyers, and similar with marketing agencies, there are good and bad clients. Now, because, right, there's not that much emotion connected to it, the sales cycle in some cases can be super short. I'm talking about 20-minute sales call, just on understanding the pricing, the returns, right? And then you go into basically how like the invoicing and details, replacement criterias, right? You give them the contract and basically they pay the invoice. And then what happens on the back end is you specifically connect to their customer relationship management software, so you can send the leads, first name, last name, as well as the phone number to their software. So obviously they receive the information and can call the leads to turn them into customers, right? And the problem essentially with most of the corporate businesses is there will be like 20 to 30% that have insanity of call center, right? Like they high energy call within 5 minutes. They can convert your leads into customers, and those are the clients that you will keep for years on end. But some of them, obviously not all corporate clients are perfect, and a lot of them also have shit call center and follow-up systems. So it is really a game of volume, right? The same game that you're playing right now in retainer, but on a smaller like scale, because you're charging $1 to $4 grand retainers, obviously, in any service-based industry, whether that's like freaking AI agency, you know, you're selling appointments, whatever it is you're doing. But specifically, if you go to corporate, right, that changes the game, because you're playing not in 4 figures, but in 5 figures, and sometimes even 6 figures in insurance and legal verticals. If you haven't watched my legal video, then you should go check it out, because specifically it is the best video on the internet about choosing your pay-per-lead vertical, because it's an hour long and I'm autistic and I give you as much value as I should. I'm probably gonna take it down because it's too much value. But what's also crazy, right, is that if some of you guys are in a already established retainer-based agency, I'd like to offer you one-on-one mentorship to scale you past 50K in profit in under 6 months, right? Because that will allow me to build up the case studies that I will. Because I'll be just frank with you guys, you know, I don't want to lie or anything, but and I cannot lie because I'm autistic. And what's also really crazy is that for one setup, right, one setup, you can actually get like 100 clients in pay-per-lead. I'm talking about one funnel, one ad account, and on the back end, how it works is you have this lead distribution machine, Lead Prosper, Lead Byte, whatever that might be. I'm also building my own one out right now, and it just sends the leads to different clients from that one single funnel and that one single ad account. That's where the scalability comes from, guys. It's not like building managing 20 different ad accounts, 20 different CRMs, right? It is a complete headache. So for that reason, right, pay-per-lead is just superior, which is why 9 out of 10 companies listed on the stock exchange, on the NASDAQ, are doing pay-per-lead. You can check 4 of my in-depth case studies out there in my like playlists, right, that you can check out. It's no BS, no dopamine content, so perfect for you like hardcore ambitious people who want to learn. Now, what's also crazy is that a lot of these fucking local business owners, they're gonna treat you like slaves, right? You're gonna be doing a lot of unpaid IT support, fixing their CRM, whatever. That's not gonna happen with corporate businesses. They all have their own IT team, and they just need like one product, which is leads, right? It's a cleaner business model. It's just more scalable. And obviously there are a lot of challenges that are associated with it, so we're also going to be talking about them on like later in the video. But churn and burning is not the way to go if you're actually really ambitious and want to build a 7-8 figure profit business in the next like 5 to 10 years, right? Because specifically, all these corporate companies, they've already existed for like 10 years at least. So you can count on them paying you. They have reputation to uphold. They're really, really good reoccurring clients, right? And they will also be great clients in terms of scalability. I mean, the only other time you can actually get clients that pay you 300,000, 100,000, 200,000, 6 figures is if you do OnlyFans management, and if you get a billionaire client that has such an insane orgasm that he's willing to spend that money on your model, on your OnlyFans model, from which you get obviously 30 to 50%. But what's also crazy is that not only will that relationship after you close your first corporate client, it all goes uphill from there, because you can leverage that, right? And then if it's a big client, then you can get all the other big clients as well, because you already have that trust within the industry. Now that's why I know people like even higher level than me that scale to like freaking 12 million with 7 corporate insurance clients. Is absolutely mental, right? And it's so untalked about, because by the view count of this video, you can already see you're one of the lucky ones that discovered this, right? Before fucking Brett starts talking about it, before some guru that has a high following starts talking about it and brings saturation in the market. So I have a Skool community and the biggest Telegram chat group on pay-per-lead in the whole world. So go join those two, right? To not miss out on any value that might save you months of work as well as thousands of dollars. Now what's also crazy is we want to have, right, low margins, like good profit margins. How it looks like in pay-per-lead is like 100% revenue, 50 to 60% is going to go to ads, depending how good you are at ads. So check out my ad videos. I teach you the principles in your head to make you better at it, not just like copying other people. But ads, super important. Meta, YouTube, freaking Google. I myself, I'm still learning YouTube and Google, so when I learned it and mastered it, I'll drop a course on that. But what's crazy is Meta is definitely the most flexible and reliable, right? It's also the cheapest to get started with. And also the software, guys, it's like $100 for Claude Max and a bunch of other stuff, but you don't need to spend more than $300 to $400 per month on software. Entry to barrier is almost non-existent, which is why I urge you to grab this opportunity, because once freaking, like, it's gonna be SMMA in 2018 again if some guru starts talking about it. And yeah, what's also good, right, is that in a retainer-based agency, right, in pay-per-lead, you have maybe 2-3 employees, right? I've seen people scale to $1 million month with 5 employees. In freaking retainer-based, you have 80% of your profit margin is gone, right? Like 40, 30, like 50 of that is just team costs, and managing 10 to 20 people is definitely not fun. Your Slack just fucking explodes the whole day, and oh my God, what the fuck are you doing with your life, right? You're building yourself a job and a corporate slavery system instead of like actual freedom, right? I'm out here in Bali doing whatever I want. I actually don't even work that hard. Actually for this info business, I'm actually working quite hard, but like for the pay-per-lead side, you know, everything is flowing because I brute force like media buying skills into myself. Now also, if the math makes sense on pay-per-lead, everybody's going to continue buy from you, right? Because if you turn a $40 lead, right, into $120 of value, right, they will always continue to buy. Everything is tracked down to a T, right? The math, you get a disposition report is what it's called. It's basically like a Google sheet that tells you how many of your leads converted into customers and if the client made money from you or not, right? Because if you didn't make money, you can basically piss off. Now with with obviously local business owners, right, or like any of these like smaller companies, they don't know how to track these kinds of stuff. They don't know how to. They just like kind of gauge like, oh my God, did I get enough clients? If not, then right. It's just very, very emotional. Nothing is like very mathematically tracked. And it's just like, that's why your churn is also so high. It's so hard to also educate them on anything, right? Because they're just local business owners. And that's why the retention on pay-per-lead is also better, because if you deliver them results, they will always continue buying from you. And you won't get those 3 a.m. WhatsApp voice notes, right, from your local business owners, because like one of the AI chatbots don't work on the website, right? All you don't get is like a simple Google sheet telling you if your leads actually turned into paying clients for them, and that decides if you continue to get paid or not, right? So there's not really client meetings or anything like that. In fact, I remember a guy sending me 30 grand and we just never spoke after that. I legit had 2 meetings in like 3 months after that, so it's crazy. And also, right, we're talking about in pay-per-lead, it's billion-dollar industries. Insurance is a trillion-dollar market, and we're not only talking about US. If you're in Europe, that also opens a lot of industries up. So there's always going to be a demand. And with local markets, it's limited by geography, right? It's limited by location, right? So obviously there's just not a select amount of med spas, gyms in the United States is also saturated. Of these corporate companies, right? You can go everywhere. So if you're in the States, you can run ads in Germany and so on and so forth, right? The same goes for like retainer, but in pay-per-lead, right? There, the industry is just bigger. There's more money in the market, and it's just retarded to do retainer. I hope I made you realize that by now. But what's really crazy is that obviously there are no refunds, right? Because in the contract you will already have like basically said that there are replacements. You replace leads, right? You do not give back a cash refund because it is just cheaper to generate the leads again and then to send it to them, so they're also happier. And usually, right, that's some high level sauce right there. If they're 10% of leads are duplicates, right? What you can do, which is already pretty high, and you can ask them for a suppression sheet. What that means is they will give you a list of clients, right? Obviously everything is in code, so you cannot really see their clients, but Meta can see it. So Meta will not generate those clients again, or those leads, right? Those leads / clients will not be generated again, and they will only, like, your corporate client will only get new leads / clients, which is very cool. And yeah, like disputes and all of that is like bullshit with local. Like they care too much about money because they don't have much, right? Which is very, very understandable. So that's why the disputes don't get very nice. But you can decide if you want to have free clients making you 5 figures monthly within a year, within the next 12 months, or if you like do like 50 clients or 100 clients, you know, for the same amount of profit. And yeah. Talk to me on Instagram, Telegram if you're interested in anything that I have to offer into helping you to become a pay-per-lead agency owner that grows sustainably without any wasted life on $10,000 beginner mistakes or anything like that. I'm still a small creator, so hopefully you can talk to me. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.